Good evening and welcome back to another episode of What's Your Story? Tonight we are sitting down with Molly Burne, longtime patron of the Graves Library.
Yes.
So welcome
Thank
to
you.
our set. Thank you for being here and taking the time today because we know you're a busy girl.
Thank you for having me.
So you have been coming to this library for a really long time. Do you remember when you started?
Absolutely. I remember my mom used to take me, and I have a younger sister, she's 18, and my mom used to take me and her here after school. We went to Consolidated School, which is right there.
Yeah.
And we used to come a lot of the time for story time, but my mom would also create her own story time. Yeah. And I remember going upstairs, and there was this huge stuffed dragon, which I'm sure is not around anymore.
It is not around
But
anymore.
I remember that so well. And I remember me and Lily, my sister, used to fit perfectly on there, and my mom would read us stories if a librarian wasn't already doing a story time, and that's what we would do most days after school, and it was awesome.
Yeah, that was a great dragon. It had like a nylon, I think, outer, so it took a lot of abuse.
It was a strong dragon.
A lot of good abuse, love abuse from all kinds of kids.
Definitely.
So you went through the Kennebunkport.
Yes.
RSU 21 school system.
I did.
Graduated from the high school.
Yep, Kennebunkport High School.
Last year?
2019.
Oh my gosh. 2019.
Yes.
Why was I thinking it was just like yesterday?
It's okay, I'll take it.
So then what?
Yeah, so I wasn't totally sure when graduation came where I wanted to go to school. You're thrown with so many different options. So many expensive options. And so I chose to just go to the University of Southern Maine. They offer a great in-state tuition, so I decided to go there. And I started that journey with majoring in history.
Okay.
Because I wanted to be a teacher. And at USM, if you want to be a teacher, you also have to major in an area of focus.
Yes.
And I'm a huge history buff, so I chose to do that based on interest. I got a year in, and it was a lot of work. It was not comparable to high school history classes. And I was like, this is too much just for something based on interest. So I changed my major my second year to English. And I stuck with that. And I've been doing English and K through 8 education.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. So I'm on my last year of that, and I'm excited to be done. But in a week from today, actually, I start my student teaching. So I'll do 20 hours a week in the fall and 40 hours a week in the spring. And I'm doing that at Gorham Middle School. I'm doing sixth grade English and social studies.
Yeah.
So it's exciting because I've only ever done K through 2.
Yeah.
So this is my time to try middle school. I'm a little nervous just because it's new and exciting. But
And you look like a middle school student.
yeah, I'll blend right in. But it'll be good. I'm excited to challenge myself to try something new, but I'm also nervous because I've only gone up to like 8-year-olds, and it's a whole different breed in middle school.
You've got this.
It'll be good.
What was it like going to USM during a pandemic?
It was interesting. So I lived on campus in my freshman year in 2020, and that was hard for me. It was my first time doing communal living, and it was an adjustment for sure. Yeah. And so I was almost relieved when they told us, you're not coming back for 2 weeks. I was like, 2 weeks at home? Great. I'll sleep in. I'll be with my family. And then I'll come back. I'll feel refreshed. Didn't go back, obviously. And I stayed at home that whole next year, my whole sophomore year. And it was okay. I'm such a homebody that I didn't mind so much. But online classes were really hard. I'm definitely more of a traditional learner. I like to be sitting in the class, as I'm sure most people do.
Yeah.
And so it was hard. I felt like I had to teach myself a lot of the classes I took that year, because it's really hard to do education courses because they're so reliant on being in the classroom and having that firsthand experience that there's no way to do that comfortably online. So it was hard, but when my junior year came around last year, I was so excited to be able to finally go back on campus. So I ended up being an orientation leader for the school because it got me on campus 3 weeks earlier. I got to, my sister came to USM also, and so I got to kind of orient her because she was in the freshman class that I oriented, and that was cool. And so that was a great way to be back on campus, before classes started again and get used to being
Yeah.
in that setting again.
Yeah. What's Lily studying?
She's doing business management and entrepreneurship.
Okay. Wow.
So not for me, but for her, it's awesome. She
Yeah.
loves it.
Yeah.
She's super smart. She's doing super well.
Yeah.
I could never do it. It makes no sense to me, but it's great for her.
So, do you have a favorite for English?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite class, favorite genre?
Yeah.
Or is it more of just the education?
So in my schooling so far, English and education have both been interconnected and
Okay.
completely separate at the same time.
Yeah.
I have to take a lot of literacy classes for the K through 8 that I'm studying.
Yeah.
And that's kind of all blended into one. But then I also take English classes for my major that have nothing to do
Right.
with education. Everyone else sitting in my classes wants to be writers and producers and editors and things like that. And I'm usually the only teacher in those classes. But it's cool, too, because I get to hear
Right.
why other people are there.
Right.
So in there, I took my senior seminar for English this past year because I had to finish with that just to focus on my student teaching in the fall. And I studied the Bildungsroman, which is German genre of self-discovery. So
wow.
it was really cool. It was over my head for a while. And then once I learned more about it, it was super fascinating. And that was probably one of my favorite classes I've taken
Oh, that's great.
at USM.
That's great. So, what are you doing this summer? We see you here at the library
Yeah.
once a week.
Yes.
But what are you doing for?
Yeah.
Before you go back to school.
Yeah, so this summer I split my time. I'm a fully certified behavioral health professional, so I work with kids with special needs doing in-home care, which is the boy I bring here once a week, and I also work at a daycare up in Cape Elizabeth.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's busy. So, what would you do with this, like the student that you bring here once a week? Like, what's the day like?
Yeah, so I get to his house in the morning, and I'm always meted with a huge welcome. And I feel just as enthusiastic and excited to be there. And we spend the day doing really fun things like puzzles, games. We go out in the community. His favorite place is Aroma Joe's, so we go there often because I also love Aroma Joe's. And we come here. We go on lots of walks. We go to the Emmons Preserve a bunch, Welch Woods and Kennebunk a bunch. And that's great. And really, our goals are just spending time together, having a good time, and I'm working to bring him to his fullest potential, which you guys see here at the library and other community members get to see as well.
Yeah. I went to the high school at the end of the year. Mr. Massisso invited a bunch of us there, and it was really nice because we could see, for the library, we could see what other organizations, and they said, we are grateful that you said yes. And that what they meant was when somebody like you in the school system or Mr. Massisso asked, say either the Snug Harbor or the library or the Historical Society or some of the other organizations to allow a student to come in, do some volunteer work for us, but also have somebody like you, Molly, who would bring them along, and you would work with them for that volunteer position, that job, and then go back to school.
Yeah.
And so I can't imagine saying no. You know, I mean, it was such a great, it was such a great opportunity for us to see, see these students that are, and hopefully we'll keep doing that, because that's what this library is all about. As you know, your mom, your sister, volunteering here. Your mom is the head of our snack team, even though we haven't had any programs in a couple of years.
Right.
But she would do, such great coordinating of finding, when we have an event, finding 4 or 5 people to make a snack and drop it off before the event. But it's those people, it's you people that make, the people at the front desk, Mike, our producer, that make us open for the community.
Yeah.
So I think, what you're doing for, getting those skills at the daycare and with our student. That's all gonna, you're gonna be so great at what you do.
Oh, thank you.
Once you get out there into your student teaching, it's gonna be great. I wanted to ask you about your shirt.
Absolutely.
Because I too have a Set No Limits shirt. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so this was made by a community member. His mom is Jen Poor, and she sells these shirts. And this is a young boy's artwork in the letters. And they make T-shirts, cards, all kinds of things. And it's really wonderful, and I wear it with such pride.
Yeah.
And the student is a friend of the boy I come here with, and their whole families are interconnected, and so it makes me really prideful and really happy to be able to wear his artwork on a T-shirt. And what a positive message, too.
I know.
Especially in that community, so it's really great.
Yeah, that is great.
Yeah.
What do you, have you guys been able to do any family trips or...
Yeah, we've done a few. We do a lot of camping, which is good, especially in a pandemic world. My family is able to bring our tent, bring our camper, go in the woods, and just be there and not have to worry about anything. Yes, that's the big one. Is we're all so busy. I mean, this summer I did summer school and 2 jobs, and that's not unique. My sister is a manager in the port, and so she works a ton. My mom and dad both wear so many hats, and so it's really great for when we can take, even if it's just 2 or 3 days, leave computers, cell phones, and everything at the door and go somewhere in the middle of New Hampshire, Vermont, wherever, and just enjoy each other, nature, everything.
That's
it's
nice.
Perfect.
Where's your favorite place?
Oh, good question. Probably Baxter State Park. It's really nice. It's very secluded. You have to be ready for it. There's no electricity, no water, nothing. But they have the best hikes, the best stars, the best foliage in the fall. And I love it. It's a drive, but it's worth it.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Have you seen any bears while you've been up there?
No, thankfully. No. But I don't know. We're going this fall, so
maybe you'll run into one. Hopefully you'll see it from afar.
From afar. The car maybe would be a good place to see a bear.
That's right. So Mike Kelly, I don't know if you know this about Molly, but Molly named our pig. So do you remember that? So we have a little piggy bank that sits over by the desk, the circulation desk, and we had a contest a few years back. So when people come in and maybe they like something that we did, they'll put a dime in or a quarter, sometimes $1. Sometimes little kids love to feed the pig. So we had a little contest, and we had a name the pig contest, and Molly won. So she thought Hamlet would be the best name for this pig, and we agreed. So that's Hamlet, and he's still out there collecting money.
Do you want to hear something even funnier? So I was actually here a few weeks ago, noticed the pig, and was like, that is the most familiar looking object I've ever seen, but I can't place it. And now that we're talking about this, I remember very vaguely, but I do remember not long after that, my family got pigs. We don't have them anymore, but we had pigs.
Yeah.
I also named that pig Hamlet. So it must have just been, that was my pig name.
Must have been. So I too had my parents, there was a couple pigs that we had they were at a farm up in North Saco.
Okay, yeah.
And so in the summertime, one of our jobs was to go to the local grocery store in the back. They would save all the lettuce and the buns and the whatever and give us, and we would go up and feed the pigs.
Oh, fun.
But we weren't allowed to name them because...
You get too attached.
You get really too attached for what you're doing.
Yeah, we had those pigs, and then after we didn't have the pigs, I was a vegetarian for 8 years.
Oh.
So... I got a little attached. It happens.
So now, do you still see some of your classmates from here?
A couple. After high school, I moved up to Westbrook just to be closer to school.
Yeah.
And it's hard, especially I was volunteering full-time in classrooms, so I was doing almost 40 hours a week in classrooms, and that was on top of a full-time class schedule, and I was working. So I never had time. I would have maybe 3 free days all semester long. So I really just got closer to my friends at USM because I was forced to see them every day, which is a good thing. And I do still see some of my closest friends from high school, but not as many as I'd like to, but it's purely because of my lack of free time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and that's...
it's hard. It's hard to balance.
That's right. And right now you're so focused on getting done what you need to get done.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I also went to Southern Maine, and I was an English major, not school, but I was an English major, and I can't imagine the dual for you. That's
it's a lot. It is.
Yeah.
Especially, it wouldn't be so much if it was just 2 majors, but since one of them comes with like full-time in classrooms.
Right.
And then, of course, in student teaching, we don't get paid. So then we have to work on top of that, especially if we live on our own, which I do. And so to have to do all of that and then to work on top of that because you need money. And then it's hard to make time for friends. But luckily this semester, I have a lot of blocks of time between classes. And all of us that are seniors in this program have the exact same class schedule.
Oh, that's
so
good.
luckily we'll be able to like go get lunch and do things like that.
Commiserate.
Yes, it's a support system.
That's right. That's right. So, if you are thinking about where you want to land, do you have any ideas on school district or?
My top choice would be Portland. I've worked in their school systems a lot, and I've loved it. It's been nothing short of a great experience. There's just so much that Portland has to offer that a lot of other places around here don't. And so ideally I would love to end up in Portland. I'm open to a lot of grades. I'm really leaning strongly toward the younger kids. The K through 2 area is what I love, but that could change once I start doing middle school this semester. I'll have to kind of play that one by ear. But I definitely want to stay in Maine. Southern Maine would be the best. So anywhere, Portland, Gorham, Westbrook. Any of that area is top choice for me.
They'd be very lucky to have you wherever you land.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So we usually end our interview with a rapid fire round.
Throw it at me.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Cookie dough.
Cookie dough.
Maybe.
A special ice cream parlor that you go to?
Goose Rock's Dairy is the best, but lately it's been so crowded. Even if you go at 8 o'clock at night, it's crazy. But it's the best ice cream, so it's worth the wait.
Dough. Love it. Favorite movie?
Ooh, probably Forgetting Sarah Marshall. It's a really bad comedy, but I love it. It's so good. It's feel good.
That's good.
I love the sappy.
Yep. Okay. Favorite book?
Glass Castle. That's my favorite.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It's a good one, though.
It is a good one.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Didn't it make you kind of mad, though?
Yeah, it made me feel a lot of feelings. I had to, digest it a lot after, but great book.
I agree. I think I threw that book, not threw it, because you don't throw books, but, it was kind of a... I'd slap it down on the table every once in a while. I had to get up and walk away a little bit.
Yeah, you have to take breaks. It's heavy. It's a heavy book, but it's a great book.
So now you talked about camping, but is there the coolest place you've ever been?
Ooh, probably I went to Puerto Rico last year with my partner's family, and that was so cool. Yeah. That was the coolest experience. We did a lot of things. We went on boats, we went snorkeling, we did all kinds of really cool things, and I felt really immersed there, and it was awesome.
Yeah. Old part, new part, or all of it?
All of it. We did, we stayed really far from the city, but when we did go to the city, we went in old forts and learned the history there, and we also went in new shops and did all kinds of stuff. It was awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was really great. We went to rainforests, everything. It was really cool.
Yeah. Are you a coffee drinker?
Recently, within the past month, I've started needing coffee every morning, and I used to not be, and lately I have been.
Do you have a favorite? Do you go locally for coffee?
I do. I like Aromas is
Right.
a
Oh, you
top
mentioned
one.
that. That's right. You
But
said that.
I'll drink pretty much anything. I don't like it if it has sugar in it or if it's too sweet.
Yeah.
But I'll like try anything once.
I've been trying to branch out as much as, as much as I can. And there's a shop in Biddeford that makes a pistachio latte.
Is it Elements?
No, it's not Elements. It's called
Is it?
Time and Tide or something like that.
never
It's
even
on
heard of
Lower
it.
Main Street.
That sounds delicious.
I know, it really is. And that's like a big treat.
Yeah.
So
Sounds like a
sometimes when it's, especially if it's raining or snowing,
Ooh, yeah.
it's always such a good time to
Absolutely.
try that out. So, because you have been here for a long time in the port, if somebody came in here and said, "Hey, Molly, we're new in town. What should we do? Even if they're here just on vacation."
Yeah.
What would you advise people to?
Well, I used to work at Salt and Honey, which is no longer in business, and
Yeah.
I used to get that question probably 5 times a day. And my first answer is always, "You have to go to Satellite Donuts," but it's because Lily is the manager, so I have to do it. My absolute favorite shopping store in the port is Zen. They get like half of my paycheck. I love that store. But Zen is my favorite. For food, you can't go wrong. Federal Jack's is delicious. Allison's is delicious. Clam Shack is delicious.
Yeah.
All of it is so good.
Yeah.
I've never been to Hurricanes, but my friend works there, and I hear really good things. But yeah. And you have to go to the beaches.
Have to go.
You have to go to the beaches. But I always recommend Colony because it's a little less crowded. But Goose Rocks is the best.
Yeah, the Goose Rocks.
Goose Rocks is the best.
So Mike lives over at Goose Rocks, and I think he would agree. So it is for me. I don't go there. I don't have a sticker.
I don't have a sticker.
So when I have been there, like in the past, if it's like off season, it is the most picturesque.
That's when we go. We go once it starts, like, this is so bad, but we go once it starts snowing because then there's no one there. And the beaches are beautiful when there's snow on the ground.
That's a great time to go.
Yeah.
That's a great
no
time
one
to
on the
go.
beach because who goes to the beach when it's snowing? I do.
You do. So, well, thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for what you're doing.
Of course.
And good luck with all of your studies
I appreciate
and your student teaching.
I need it, so thanks.
If you ever need to come in and get a cup of coffee or a little pep talk.
I'll do it.
All right.
I'll be here.
You come in. So
Thank you.
Molly Burne.
I appreciate it.
Watch out for Molly Burne. She's going to be doing some pretty amazing things in the next few years.
Thank you.
Thanks to Mike Kelly for producing this today. And we hope to see you all right back here next time on What's Your Story?